Production funding for Making It Up North is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Happy Homegrown, Music Festers!
Homegrown is a showcase of local music. It's also inclusive of art and the community.
8 days of rock and or roll community events focusing on the talent of local musicians.
So get ready to get in, get on, get up, and get down.
It was, founded by Scott Lunt, and that's what he wanted, was the local showcase of rock and or roll. So that's what we do.
Welcome to Homegrown. We're American Rebels.
Yeah.
It's such an awesome thing that we have up here that I've never been around anything like it in my life.
It definitely took the idea from South by Southwest, so it's not original, but we wrapped it in Duluth clothing.
It's the best gig of the year anywhere for me.
Homegrown! What up, what up? Yeah! Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, go!
You have a 45-minute set and a 15-minute break in between to get down and get up, and it's like just a Tetris. It's just a little puzzle that everyone has to be right on key for.
Let's get it going.
It is still focused on Duluth music, and that's kind of some of the criteria to get in.
I thought maybe like a 70-mile, like Hinckley up and onto the Iron Range.
We're really thankful that Homegrown is still alive and people still support it, and we get to go and participate and share what we do.
Homegrown became something that I would look forward to, and as I've gotten older, now it becomes kind of an annual reunion.
It's just interesting to see how everyone comes together, and it's a friendly atmosphere. You can walk up to somebody and say, "Isn't this great?"
People going around like, "Happy Homegrown." It's like a holiday here.
Everyone should go and have a good time. Just relax.
How did a simple birthday party become a community-wide celebration of creative talent? We'll explore the making of Duluth Homegrown Music Festival with founders and fans in Making It Homegrown. So tell me about the impetus for that first party, that first Homegrown.
Okay, so after my birthday party, I was playing cribbage with my then roommate, lefty, Brian Johnson. I'm like, we should do this, we should do it next year, and I think it just popped into my head. It was just a eureka. Homegrown.
And Homegrown 1 was, that's where you started to think there might be a Homegrown 2. Like before 0, you were just at a birthday party that was really awesome.
Right.
And you got to play and see everybody else play. But yeah, Homegrown 1 was just like, oh, he's gonna do it again.
When you come up with a good name, then you can't not do it.
Oh, what was the first Homegrown like?
Yeah, what was the first Homegrown like?
It was very packed. I was an employee at the North Shore Theater at the time. I started bartending there, so it was kind of fun having this huge event at a place where I worked. And I had never seen a crowd turn out like that.
It was a lot smaller in sense of bands, obviously, because there were 5 bands each night, but it always felt big, like a party.
He was 10 the first year, so we had 5 Friday night, 5 Saturday night, all right here on the mezzanine.
I played the mezzanine, and I was the first one. So again, people were kind of coming in as I was starting. And what was always cool about the North Shore and the mezzanine is that people would sit on the stairs.
It was a magic moment, and like you said, you knew there was going to be more to come after that. It was just like, wow, this happened.
This is home base for Homegrown.
The First Ladies was a band that played that first night, and their performances were always fun.
The first night I stuck around, and I remember Crazy Betty.
Crazy Betty.
Crazy Betty, going way back.
Yeah.
It was just wild. A lot of people were into what we were kind of doing at that moment, and so it was a lot of fun. You know, when you're 20.
It was so packed, people were standing on the staircase.
Right, it made you feel like you were
the band at the North Shore Theater.
Like you were a big honking deal or
stairs.
something.
Yeah.
I can't say that I was at Homegrown 1. I may have been, but I don't remember being at Homegrown 1. I know that I was at Homegrown 2 in every one since that time.
And I actually remember, like, there were people from all over the country there. I don't know why, but I remember some guy was like, sign my poster. And someone was like, no, you should sign the poster because who knows what's gonna happen in the future. You're the first one. So I'm like, autograph. But 20 years later. So yeah, who knew?
I get tired of it, that's true. I get this attitude that I don't care, but I do.
As far as the planning goes, I just remember the first couple of volunteer meetings at the North Shore, and it was kind of an open call, anyone who wanted to be involved, kind of grassroots.
Well, that's one thing that definitely has changed. It started off small with a small group of people, and then it changed hands many times, and now it's run by a huge committee.
I mean, it grew beyond what one person could do.
Don had the organizational skills in like 2005 to make a board and make it official. So that felt really good because it was like we have like a 5-year plan or a plan going forward. It's not just people hanging out, yeah.
And with a nonprofit model that invites a lot of people's input, a lot of people's participation, they can feel like Homegrown is mine. I want it to succeed because I have invested myself into its success. And I think that then just builds on itself.
I'm singing to you, I'm singing to you, for an hour too. I was singing to you, I was wide awake, with another to do, for an hour too. I was singing to you.
All these other bands owe the first 8 bands that were in this city everything.
Yeah. Can you name the first 8 bands?
No.
Some venues I remember were a little reluctant, and it took, I don't remember who, I mean, there were so many people that did such hard work, like talking to the venue managers, talking to sponsors, and just a lot of work and a lot of persuasion.
I want to, give a special nod, obviously, to Starfire, who, helped create this entire thing, but also to Tim and Brad Nelson, Rick Boo, the whole Ripsaw team when they first started, Chris Monroe, people that were early on investors in the festival. Mayor Ness is one of them.
That first year of going from a 3-day festival to an 8-day festival was overwhelming to a lot of people. Going to any number of different parts of the city, whether it was West Duluth or Superior or into the hillside, and say this is a festival that's not only about downtown, that's not only about the North Shore and the Brew House, but truly is a community celebration of arts and music.
Did it matter that it had a Superior element, that it had these theme nights, or,
That happened after I passed on the reins, I think, but I love the way that it sort of focuses on different areas of the town and it just goes crazy at the end. Now it's just kind of it doesn't seem like it's getting bigger but better run,
Definitely, it's grown. We have myself, and Adam is the assistant director. He also is the field guide publisher with Paul Lundgren. We have a volunteer coordinator and an assistant volunteer coordinator, a chicken shack manager, a production director, a technology director. We have several subcommittee, little individual subcommittees too that people are heads of on top of the steering committee, and then we have our full board of directors.
It's total volunteer, hundreds of hours, and people do it out of the love for it and like the excitement and being like meeting cool people and meeting cool bands, and and just like being a part of something, yeah, artistic and interesting, and it's pretty amazing.
Anywhere upwards of 200 volunteers. The musicians that play, it's about 700 individual musicians, up to about 40 venues. So it's a lot, and then an estimated 5,000 people attend.
It's become our own local cultural phenomenon. It's very unique to Duluth.
It is amazing to have that many acts that is all original in a town that size. Like, it is a very unique thing.
I think it's beyond Duluth's music scene. It's about the culture of Duluth.
Starfire had an idea for a festival, and it would have been easy to kind of dismiss that or to discourage that sort of initiative, but the community rallied behind them and then created this massive success.
This is amazing. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment to be able to pull this many people together and organize it, and to see so many people of so many walks of life and ages come out and have fun and support it. It's one of a kind.
So how does Homegrown feel? I mean, is that something to get psyched for?
Well, yeah, people come out of the woodwork for it, and it is a good celebration of the Duluth community. You see people you haven't seen for a long time. There's a different kind of excitement in the air.
I think that Duluth has a culture of togetherness. Like, we want to get out and support each other. I mean, I've noticed in the last couple of years, when art openings happen, they're way more attended than they were when I first moved to town. And art galleries are working together. This is the same thing. Venues are working together, bands are working together, fans are working together. They're talking to each other, they're saying, you should go out and check this out.
Happy Homegrown, everybody. I mean, I'm trying to say happy Homegrown, everybody.
I love a Homegrown. You know, Homegrown packs all the excitement of Duluth music and art and film scene into 1 week.
The connections and the overlap between the music scene and the rest of the art scene is strong, and there's a lot of people that dwell in both worlds and support one another. And in some ways, you can use the profile of a large music festival to lift up and celebrate poetry or the physical arts, or other types of art that maybe folks that are very passionate about music may not even be exposed to on a regular basis.
The more it just gets bigger and it's like exponential, and sucks in other things. Now you have film and poetry, and what else they got going on?
Photos, fires, art, photography,
dance,
kickball.
Kickball.
Yeah.
What do you think about the extra events? Was that part of your vision?
It kind of actually was part of my vision. I actually had thought at one point, and I think it'd be cool because they have the art hop gallery. I thought, what if that came onto the same weekend, And then so you have visual arts and music and poetry, but I think it's sort of naturally happening anyway.
I did one kids showcase, and it was amazing, and there were like costumes for the kids and hula hoops, and it was at Sacred Heart.
We got a grant 2 years now from the Duluth Superior Area Community Foundation to help co-fund this event. And what it does for the community, and brings all of these people from different demographics together for a free event for kids that, you don't have to worry that mom doesn't have money for face painting, or I can't hula hoop because I don't have one. So it brings the whole community together.
Well, I mean, there's always kickball, which is like,
The one memory I have that sticks out in my mind was Starfire running the bases. I'm on second base. He's holding an umbrella, talking on a cell phone, and drinking a beer. He's like, well, I'm in the middle of a kickball game right now, and I gotta go. I'm running the bases right now. But he's walking the bases with this umbrella.
Good and bad decisions behind those headlights always felt like home.
We have a committee of about 13 people and a board of 5. And we do voting on things, band registration, everybody listens to the music. It gets down to the nitty-gritty the last 3 months, but we're doing stuff all year round for the planning.
The people who write the field guide, you know, they do the interviews, they call up everyone, so it's really fun reading the blurbs about all the bands and who's in what, who's doing what.
Kind of like a showcase of, you want to do something more memorable than like just a regular random show. So I always try and pull out the stops a little bit. 2 years ago was in Grandma's, and it's like a huge venue, and the energy was like so amazing to me, and it just like felt phenomenal.
And then Carmody's, I remember one year, you know, you're playing in the middle of Carmody's and people are like walking through to go to the bathroom. So in a way that was really good as a performer to figure out how to adapt to any kind of bar situation or venue situation on the fly, really. So it was a learning experience for everyone too, which was a very positive thing.
Happy fans, happy bands, happy venues. You know, once those things are met, then we know we've done a good job.
If the crowd's having a good time, then I'm having a good time.
Thank you.
Yeah, Homegrown a lot of times becomes more, it's almost like a reunion every year in a way. You see people that you might only see once a year. A lot of people come back to town for it. And it's sometimes, yeah, those talking to people, or like trying to get from one venue to another, it can take 30 minutes to leave a venue because you chit chat. And so sometimes that even becomes greater than the music.
One of my favorite things about the festival is walking up and down Superior Street and saying hi and saying happy Homegrown to folks, and there's just that sense of, you know, people are so excited, and they're so excited to be outside.
In the beginning, I was kind of right there on that visceral level and listening to Scott talk about his dreams for it, I guess, and I remember us saying, wow, it was so cool the way all those people were out on the sidewalk, like going, maybe this is probably second or third year, I don't know, but going back and forth between the Lion and the North Shore, like, wouldn't it be cool if every weekend could look like that in Duluth, you know, where the sidewalks had people on them?
Downtown?
Downtown had people.
It's the best time of year, for sure.
It is the end of winter and people are just craving to get out and be social again.
Well, that's the sound of a long, long, long winter. That's right.
Homegrown is kind of that kickoff to like, let's get out and see bands every weekend. Let's get out and, you know, play all the time, and hopefully it brings fans out every time there's a show.
I can't live without you, baby, now I know you're the one. Thanks a lot, everybody.
And what do you think made the difference as far as growing it from a one venue, one, you know, like 2 nights to 8 days and 200 bands?
There's something magical about that weekend. I think like, if it had been November, it wouldn't be the same. You know, it's like people are coming out of the winter slumber. It's like kind of got that pre-summer energy. So I think that is part of it, but it's just the people, and it's never been about profit. I mean, it's nice to make a couple $100 the years I made it, but that's not why I did it. But it's not like driven by major sponsors. Like all the sponsors are just local people, and yeah, it's just a community event.
Removing the commercial aspect to it is like a huge part of the growth of it.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
You know, to this day we don't do it for the money. You really.
Well, that's for sure.
Well, that's for sure.
I think just like looking at like the amount of volunteers, the amount of growth, people talk about it all year. People, the pictures and the craziness and people pulling out all the stops. I do think it's a success.
It's so big now that one can't imagine that it will ever stop. I mean,
Right.
it's not like there's some reason that it would make sense for, you know, next year not to have one.
Right.
Or 10 years from now, you know, that's something.
Every show seems to be really busy, like insanely busy, like some you can't even get into. So I think the audience has definitely grown.
I mean, it took off more than I ever imagined it could take off. It grew beyond my wildest dreams.
It's almost like a scavenger hunt meets a marathon, which is awesome because there's more than you can see. Frustrating because, like, I can't get into your show. I haven't seen Jerry Small play in 3 years because she's sold out and you can't even sneak in the door with a badge. So it's a different experience, but it's just more. It's just amplitude.
You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. We're gonna make it right now through.
There's a lot of exchanges. Sometimes people are asking, oh, where did you come from? Or you're giving feedback of people coming out. But yeah, it's just a friendly, friendly atmosphere. People sometimes get a little upset if they don't get in to a show right away. But we try to encourage people, if you want to, get out there and try something new.
When it started, it was so important to see my friends there, but now it's so exciting to see, like, oh my God, there's so many people here and supporting music, and it's just a great feeling.
What is your favorite part of Homegrown now?
I love the kickball game still because that gets everybody outside, no instruments, and kind of playing a sport. It's turned into more of a comedy routine than a sport, but so that's great. The weather almost always cooperates, and then even if it doesn't, it makes it more memorable. So I love that part. I don't know, I like walking around, I like riding the trolley.
I like riding the trolley a lot.
If you ever go down south, go down to Dixieland. Don't forget about the Clover Street Cronies band. You better hide, honey, better hide from me.
I'm just so glad the city was behind it because it's the trolley, which is a novelty. And then people playing, and then you just hang out in the trolley and people come on and off, and yeah, skateboarding and just crazy things would happen, and it was just a whole lot of fun.
One of my favorites was the first year I volunteer coordinated in 2012, and I had 3 people in a group come up to me at the Thirsty Pagan and ask me, how can I get signed up for this festival to volunteer? And they've been volunteering ever since.
My favorite part of the festival is going to venues, seeing packed houses, and seeing bands with smiles on their faces, with fans having a good time, and everyone just having fun.
You take care of it! You take care of it! Potholes, potholes! Potholes, potholes! Potholes, potholes! Potholes,
I think my best homegrown memories were right here at the North Shore. And whether it was kind of a punk show up in the mezzanine or some of the bigger shows down on the main stage, it was just such a magical moment, and everybody was so excited to be in this space and to have that particular moment, and it was just a celebration of community that made you feel so proud of Duluth and so proud of the success of musicians that call Duluth home.
What are your favorite memories?
I remember musical memory. It was the Black Eyed Snakes, one of the first years that we had it at Pizza Luce. And it was like way overcrowded. And they were handing out chocolate-covered strawberries, and it was just like a sweaty mass of people. And that was a great musical memory.
Favorite homegrown memory is actually a not hard question because it was the Black Eyed Snakes at Pizza Luce. It was when people were up on the bar taking their clothes off because they were so excited.
I don't know what has, if it, you know, how much homegrown is fed into the scene, and the scene is fed, or the scene, you know, it's a chicken or egg question, I think.
Right.
But certainly homegrown has been a huge part of just the fuel of the Duluth music scene.
Favorite memories? Well, every year is getting to play. That's fun because you're up on stage and you look out at all your friends and family if they come, and that, I love that part every year. And then just the young kid bands that you stumble across that are like so good that you kind of hate them because they're like 17 and they're already good. So I don't know. If I had any part in creating an environment where those things can happen, that's pretty cool.
All right, we're going to do one more song. Thank you guys again, and thank you for having us as part of Homegrown.
Survival strategy is lots of water.
Take a whole week off work.
Yeah. Stay at the Voyager.
Yeah, make it a destination vacation.
Know your limits.
Well, nobody can see everything, so you just kind of have to chart your own course. So I don't usually even plan, I just sort of kind of like follow a current.
Pace yourself. I mean, it's an 8-day festival. There's music happening every day.
I like the happy accidents of just like stumbling into something.